I have this nagging feeling that Maxie is playing a high stakes game of cat and mouse, potentially uncovering the truth about Cassius, that absolute snake who has been masquerading under a name that means everything to her. To me, it feels like she has been the only one with the intuition to sense that something is fundamentally off with this man. If she is indeed tracking him, it explains the shift in her behavior and her sudden disappearance from the social circles where she usually thrives. We are talking about a woman who has survived heartbreak, loss, and the absolute chaos of this town. She is not going to just fade away without a reason. My gut tells me she is on the precipice of exposing a fraud so massive it would make the entire town spin on its axis. And I truly believe we are going to see the results of her investigation manifest in a way we never anticipated. I have to be honest with you guys. The prospect of an actor transition is always nerve-wracking, but it is also a staple of our beloved world of soap opera. If the situation demands that we see a new face for a while, I am actually keeping an open mind about the potential for a familiar return. If you ask me, bringing someone like Nicole back to take on the role of Maxie during this pivotal month of July would be a masterstroke of storytelling efficiency. We have seen her navigate these waters before, and because she has that history and that established rapport with the audience, it would allow the story to continue without missing a single beat of the drama. It is not just about the person. It is about the legacy of the character, and keeping Maxie front and center during this investigation is non-negotiable. I think we all deserve to see this mystery through her eyes, especially because she is the one who carries the weight of the memory of the real Nathan. If she is being recast to facilitate this undercover mission, I am all for it, as long as it gets us to that explosive moment where the mask finally rips off the face of the man who has been deceiving us all. The stakes are simply too high for the writers to sideline her now when the truth is finally within our reach. Think about the psychological toll this takes on a character like hers, being forced to look at a man who mimics the voice and the mannerisms of her true love, all while knowing deep down that it is a lie. I find myself wondering if she has been struggling with this silent, burning rage every single day she spends interacting with this imposter. If she is indeed investigating him, the sheer strength required to maintain that facade while her heart is breaking must be immense. I imagine her sitting in a dimly lit room, staring at old photographs, comparing the way he moves, the way he speaks, and the way he looks at her, only to realize that the man in front of her is a hollow shell. This is exactly the kind of gritty, intense, psychological drama that keeps us coming back for more, and I am here for it. We need to see the moment she realizes the deception is complete, the moment she goes from being a victim of circumstance to the architect of his downfall. If you ask me, this arc is going to be the defining moment for her character this year, and I, for one, cannot wait to see the fireworks that go off when she finally confronts him. Now, let us dive into the meat of this, because I know you want the theories. We are looking at a scenario where Cassius has been strategically placed in Port Charles to destabilize the power structures, and the fact that he is using the identity of a beloved figure like Nathan is just plain evil. I feel like we are watching a slow-motion car crash. He is pulling strings, making deals, and smiling that cold, calculated smile that tells me he has absolutely no regard for the lives he is destroying. I have spent hours analyzing his recent scenes, and the way he hesitates before he speaks, or the way he subtly redirects questions about his past, it is all there. You can see the wheels turning in his head, and I am convinced that he is being groomed for something much larger than just his immediate schemes. He is a piece in a much bigger puzzle, and I fear that if we do not get to the bottom of this by July, the consequences will be irreversible for some of our favorite families. We have to consider that he might not be working alone, and the thought of an accomplice lurking in the shadows of the mansion or the hospital is enough to keep me awake at night. We need the truth, and we need it now, before he manages to ensnare everyone in his web of lies. Do you remember how intense things got during the last major reveal? This feels exactly like that, but with the added layer of personal betrayal that hits so much closer to home. When I think about the way the other characters are interacting with him, it makes me want to scream at the screen. Why can they not see it? Why are they so easily charmed? It is frustrating, but that is the genius of the writing, is it not? They make us feel like we are the only ones who know the truth, which turns us into active participants in the narrative. We are watching this man, this imposter, waltz into our town and manipulate the people we care about, and we are just dying for someone to blow the whistle. I have a theory that the moment of exposure will happen at a public gathering. Perhaps something as simple as a community event where he thinks he is safe, but that is exactly when his guard will be down. That is when Maxie will strike. I can see it now. She will walk in, look him dead in the eye, and shatter his world with one single piece of evidence that he cannot deny. It will be the most satisfying scene we have had in years. I really want to emphasize how critical this month of July is going to be. Everything is converging on this timeline, and the pressure is mounting on every single character involved. We are seeing alliances being tested and trust being eroded by the constant undercurrent of suspicion that permeates every conversation. If you look at the way the dialogue is written, there are so many double meanings, so many hints dropped that only the most dedicated fans would catch. It is like the writers are winking at us, telling us that we are right to be skeptical. I have been taking notes on every little slip up he makes, and I am building a mental case file that would make a detective blush. There is no way he keeps this act up forever. The cracks are already showing, and it is only a matter of time before the whole facade comes crashing down. And when it does, I want us to be the first ones to say that we saw it coming, that we knew the danger all along. It is not just about the show. It is about our community of fans who care enough to pay attention to the details that others might miss. Think about the ripple effects this has on the rest of the town. You have got people who are genuinely grieving for Nathan, people who have moved on but still carry the scar, and then you have this man walking around wearing that same face like it is a costume. It is morbid, it is cruel, and it is absolutely brilliant television. I feel for the characters who are being deceived because when the truth comes out, the emotional wreckage is going to be astronomical. It is going to force them to reevaluate every single interaction they have had with him, every trust they have placed in him, and every secret they have shared. It is going to be a total purge of the toxicity he has brought into their lives. I suspect that some of the long-standing relationships in this town will be permanently altered by this, and that is what makes this story so compelling. We are not just talking about a murder mystery or a business deal. We are talking about the fundamental questioning of identity and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of such a profound violation. Let us talk about the possibility of the confrontation itself. I imagine it happening in a place that has significance, perhaps somewhere that holds memories of the real Nathan. Maybe at the docks, or maybe at the hospital where he spent so much time saving lives. I want to see that moment where the mask slips, where the cold, calculating eyes of the imposter are replaced by the fear of a man who knows he has been caught. I think the performance will be key here, and I have total faith that whoever is playing this villain is going to deliver a truly chilling scene. It needs to be raw, it needs to be desperate, and it needs to be absolutely final. We cannot have him slipping away to cause more trouble later on. He needs to face the music, and he needs to face it in a way that provides closure for everyone who has been hurt by his deception. I am picturing a monologue where he tries to justify his actions, and the silence that follows will be deafening. That is the kind of drama I live for, and I know you do too.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.